largest brown bears on planet Earth come from Kodiak Island. Suppose you wanted to hunt one. If you live outside of Alaska, you have to pay $25,000 just to pull the trigger. If you live inside Alaska, you have to win the lottery. Less than 2% of the applicants who apply win. That means you can apply your whole life and never get drawn for the hunt, AKA my brother's story. What's the chances of winning that exact same lottery twice? Please listen closely. It's 2008. I've lived on my own for 10 years. 160 miles separates me from my brother and my family, and I pray to Jesus. I say, Dear God, you are the creator of the clouds. I pray that somehow you bless my brother because I don't know how to best make him feel happy. Neither Benny nor I know over the course of the next 10 years how God will answer my secret prayer. It's 2008. My name is submitted to the lottery. I win the lottery in 2009 for the spring bear hunt of 2010. Leading up to the hunt, my brother takes me out to Maud Road to sight in the scope, mounted on a 7mm Winchester short mag. Ooh, time out. All the hardcore hunters are like, oh, that's a small little round. Yeah, but you don't know that both Benny and I attribute our hunting skills to video games. We hunted down our sisters on video games like Perfect Dark, 007, Halo, and Time Splitters 2. Man, we had a heyday. On top of that, my brother went to the army, not me. I went to church singing, I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir, I'm in the Lord's army. But as we're sighting in the scope, I tell Ben, I said, Ben, I've looked through more scopes than you my entire life. I'm a construction surveyor. Ben replied, yeah, but remember the time you were 10 or 11? You couldn't even shoot a popcorn seed straight out of a straw. It ricocheted back into your tear duct. You need me. Plus, the recoil on a gun is nothing like a video game. I'm like, yeah, I understand. And then he said, since you own no rifles, both of my guns are sighted in. Oh, Ben, stop. This is my story. As the time gets closer, we squeeze into the airplane, and 2 hops later, we land in Old Harbor, Kodiak Island, DB 235, the land of my mother's birth, the final resting place of my strong Alutiiq grandma Lucy. We pay our respects. The next day is our first day of hunting. Rolf, Benny, and I take the 4-wheelers about 3 miles behind where my mom was born. Matter of fact, Mom, you might have been born behind that rock. I jokes. Anyways, we see a bear about 500 feet away. The only problem is it's springtime. There's snow in the background. The bear just got out of hibernation. He's blending in with the grass. He has no idea we're there. Ralphie whispers, watch this. He pulls out a cigarette and lit it. Not 30 seconds later, with no wind, the bear jumps up and starts running in the opposite direction at 40 miles an hour. My brother's right next to me. He screams from the core of his being, shoot it! Pew! Time slows down to a screeching halt. Ben, this is my first time winning the lottery, my first big game hunt, my first brown bear hunt, the very first day I go out and the very first bear I see, and you're yelling at me to shoot? No. Ben, you're only 11 months older than me. Ben, plus we fought tooth and nail growing up. I'm not listening. Remember that time you broke your collarbone? Did I listen? No. Whoop, time speeds back up. I submit to my brother's command. My sweaty finger pulls the trigger. The federal ammunition flies out of that rifle at over 3,000 feet a second. The casing pops out the side, and my shards splatter into my favorite hunting gear, AKA Depends. 4 shots later, 2 for me and 2 for my brother, and I think the bear's dead. But we're not sure, because bears have been known to run for miles after being shot. So 3 hunters cautiously walk up to the bear with our guns drawn, AKA that's 2 hunters and 1 called Chrissy the Sissy. I come to the conclusion that the bear truly is dead. I thank the commander of the clouds for what he has handed to me on a silver platter. Man, I skinned the bear. We count the bullet holes, 1 through the shoulder, 1 through the heart, 1 through the hind quarter, and since Benny's not here, he's the one who missed the 4th shot. That was the easiest hunt of my life. Now the toughest hike of my life, a 1-mile trek back to that 4-wheeler. I could not fit that Sasquatch into my backpack. I'm hunched over. The bear's arms are dangling. The claws are clankling. Yeah, it's a new word, clankling. When I get back to that 4-wheeler, I collapse on the ground and I count the clouds for 10 minutes as I collect my breath. Minutes later, we drive back into town, and I share with the fish and game officer my story. And he says, I've lived here and worked here for the past 20 years. I've seen every single bear leave this Emerald Island. This is the largest bear I've ever seen in my entire life. He pulls out a measuring tape, and I hear the words 11 feet. Man, he measures the skull 29 and 7/16 of an inch. And my brother says, I thought it was an inch smaller. Like, Ben, stop, this is my story. After I get done with Ben, the fish and game officer, we head back into town and I perform my native ritual, a round of bingo. I didn't win anything, I'm not that lucky. Man, we sat around for a week. 1 week later, my dad rendezvous with us at the Anchorage International Airport with my brother's other child, a.k.a. Chancho, the four-legged pit. Chancho smells a wild beast. He's stuck between a squatch and the door. He's bucking like a belittled bull, a pit bull. He doesn't know what to do. He's trying to bark and sound strong, but he's scared to death. Moments later, we arrive at Larry the taxidermist's house. Oh, Chancho stops barking. I reiterate the same story to Larry, and Larry's like, that ought to be illegal. Who gets something like that on his first attempt? I'm like, it's the width of my finger, smaller than the world record. 1 year later, we pick up the bear. I unroll it at my house. My other Aleutic cousin says, I'm not impressed. This takes up the whole living room. Where am I going to walk? I'm like, yeah, point well taken. As the time comes to a close, shall I tell you of the second time I won the exact same lottery in 2019? My brother chained together every single curse word he can find into one long run-on sentence. I recorded it. I had to bleep out all those curse words. That audio file sounded like R2-D2 from Star Wars. Or shall I tell you of a time when I randomly go to a dinner and I won $80,000 worth of gifts to hunt in Africa for free? Man, my brother got to have a 5,000-year-old beer recipe. I got to feed orphans. My sister got to document her life. I'm like, Dinah, what are you doing documenting your life? She says, I'm taking pictures of dung beetles. I'm like, what are you trying to imply here? Or shall I tell you the time when I prayed for 2 moose, and I prayed that one of them would be very big, and that one had a 70-inch moose rack, the 10th or 11th largest moose ever harvested from Alaska. Well, I'll save those stories for another day. Just remember that this one started with a prayer. I prayed to the architect of the atom, the bishop over beasts, the commander of the clouds, and I come to realize that he loves my brother and his hobbies because I'm not a hunter, and he loves each and every one of you and your hobbies. And Ben said, just in closing, just let them know that my 2 rifles shot one of the largest brown bears on planet Earth. I was like, yeah, I can do that. Not.